Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video I am so excited to do. I have really been looking forward to this one. I'm going to be doing a full face of products that you have hit pan on or used up. Alright, so I have seen Allie Glines do this video. She is someone who, she has a lot of different video topics, really bringing her audience into the videos, and I love those. They're some of my favorites from her to watch. So finally I was like, why don't you do some of those? Like, you have so much fun watching them. And when I asked on my Instagram stories for products that you've hit pan on or used up, I had so many different options to choose from. So thank you to everyone who submitted those. And if you want to see any more of these types of videos from me, please do let me know. I'm going to link Allie's channel down below. Of course, make sure to go check her out because again, these are some of my favorite videos that she's done. And I really would like to do some of these on my channel. I would love if you left some guesses in the comments so I could read through them. But other than that, let's go ahead and jump into this full face of products that you have panned. Hello. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with my face. So I just did a mask. I just did my Pharmacy Honey mask, and then I sprayed my Tower 28 spray. So I did that because what came through for a primer I thought was interesting. This is from Good Molecules. This is their silicone-free priming moisturizer. So I figured this would be really nice to put on my skin since I just took that mask off. I was almost a little bit surprised to see this one come through. There wasn't a ton of primers that were mentioned. There was definitely other categories that, you know, really a lot of people submitted for. But I saw this one and I was like, wait a second, I have that, but I've never used it, which is why it's still in the box that I'm struggling to open. So Good Molecules did send this over to me, and I haven't tried it yet, but it's formulated with shea butter, macadamia seed oil, and a plant-derived silicone alternative to deeply hydrate, smooth, and nourish the skin. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, that's a sign that I finally just need to go ahead and use this. So here's what it looks like. So it's the priming moisturizer, which I like. You know, I like serums too, like this, like from Ilia and Lawless Beauty. All right, feels nice. I mean, I don't know, I probably won't have like the most amount of things to say since I'm trying this for the first time, but my skin feels smooth. Things feel good as of right now. Okay, so I am gonna let it sink in for a little bit before I come in with my foundation. I had quite a few foundation recommendations. I had screenshotted a bunch and I was trying to decide which one to go with, but I saw a handful of people say the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation, and I do really like this one too, so I decided to go with this one. I do have the shade 450, which might be a little bit dark for me right now, but that's okay. I did a few minutes to really let the moisturizer sink in to my skin, because especially with something that's a little bit more on that moisturizer side, if I go in too soon with the foundation, sometimes I can have like those pilling problems, which I would like to avoid. So I just put a little bit of the foundation on this sponge from Kokie Cosmetics. I think these are new from Kokie and I really like them. I have like 3 or 4 of them now and I think that they are really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply. I'm clearly struggling today with my skin, which that's what happens on my cycle of hormonal acne. I'm into the time where kind of no matter what I do, I'm gonna have breakouts. So that's just what I've been getting used to. So I did one light layer and then I'm gonna do a little bit more, mostly focusing on the bottom half of my face where I have the most amount of issues. And I like this foundation because it is a little bit more full coverage too, without being like too heavy or too matte or any of those things, but big fan of this foundation, especially for drugstore. For concealer, I definitely saw a lot of people say this one here from Maybelline, the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. Okay, so I went out today and I picked one up. I got the shade 120, which is light. I got it from the grocery store. My grocery store has like a small section of makeup. They didn't have the most amount of shades, but I think this one will do fine. And this one, you know what? I'm excited to have it back in my collection. I have gone through multiples of these myself. Back when I had a very small makeup collection and definitely a very drugstore / very Maybelline focused makeup collection. If anyone remembers like my early days on YouTube, you would have thought I was sponsored by Maybelline. That has never happened, but you would have thought, because I've been wearing Maybelline since high school. It was a brand that my mom used a lot, so then I used them a lot. And when I found the Instant Age Rewind, I was like, this stuff is the bomb. And I went through so many of, like, honestly, I don't know, 5 to 10 maybe of these that I've gone through. So, but I haven't had it in my collection for a while. So when I saw so many people mention this, I was like, it's your sign. It's your sign to welcome it back in. All right, so for this one, you do have to take some time to click it up. This could be a whole ASMR video, but there we go. Ah, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna see how light this shade is, and maybe I'll just use it on my under eyes. I might use some of my NARS just to spot conceal. Yeah, because this is pretty light. I'm gonna take my same sponge to blend this out. I'm very curious if I'm going to, you know, love this as much as I once did, because I mean, it's probably been 4 years, 3.5, 4 years since I have used this concealer last. So I'm glad to have it back in my collection though, because I did have a fierce love for it. So like I said, since this is a little bit lighter, I don't want to put it on my blemishes because that'll highlight them. So I am going to use, just to make me feel a little bit better, I'm going to use my NARS Soft Matte just to cover a little bit more. I've talked about that concealer a lot. Actually, there was quite a few people who did mention that concealer, but I really wanted to use this one from Maybelline as like the spotlight for this video. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more concealing, and then we'll come back with a powder that I also bought today. Okay, the NARS always has me feeling good. Maybelline, didn't mind though. It felt a little bit on the dry side, so we'll see. I mean, obviously I'm gonna use it a lot more, and maybe we'll come back to, I don't know, revisit old favorites or something along those lines, but so far so good. For my powder, I saw quite a few people mention this one also, so I picked it up. This is from Rimmel. It is their Stay Matte powder. I got the translucent shade. Now I have also had this in my collection, but it was a while ago, and I never panned it. Never. And I actually can remember being surprised, because for a while this was my only powder. Always so surprised that I could not get a pan in it. So I'm going to use a smaller brush first. This one is from Real Techniques, and I'm just going to set the concealer on my under eyes. So when I saw this one coming through, I had to laugh, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go get that one again. Especially because for my powder collection, I don't have a ton of affordable pressed powders. Some of the other powders that I saw come through, I probably, the one that I saw the most was the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Finish Setting Powder, which I have also panned that one. So, you know, I definitely thought about that, but I was like, no, I kind of want to do something a little bit different. I saw a lot of the number 7 powder, which I recently bought. I featured that one in my top drugstore products of 2020. I can link it up in the cards. And then I'm just going to take a bigger brush. This one is from BK Beauty, the 102. And then I'm just going to kind of swirl that all over. And then the other one that I saw a lot of was NYX, their banana powder. So I was thinking about that one, and I haven't tried that one, but I'm not a huge like banana powder. Like, those haven't been my biggest fave in the past. So I figured, why not bring the Rimmel back in again, kind of like retesting some past holy grails, but I definitely saw this one come through quite a bit. For bronzer, I had a plethora of options to choose from. There was a lot of different bronzers that came in. The one that I saw a handful of times, and I thought would be fun to include in here, is the Becca Capri Coast. Mostly because I tried to pan this bronzer for so long and I couldn't do it. So every time I saw another Becca Capri Coast come in, I felt like people were doing it on purpose to make me remember how hard I tried to pan this bronzer and couldn't do it. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I thought it would be fun to use this one because I haven't grabbed for it, like, since I stopped trying to pan it. I haven't really grabbed for it as much, and I felt like for a while there I just kept using it and using it and using it because I thought it was going to happen. Never did. sums up me trying to pan makeup. I'm using the BK Beauty 103. It's a really pretty bronzer though. It has a little bit of shimmer to it. And I mean, it really has been a favorite for a while. There has been a lot of Becca products that I have decluttered from my collection, but I have continued to keep around this bronzer, and I think that it's a pretty one. I'm also gonna do a little bit on my forehead. So I have a secret of another reason why I decided to pull in the Becca bronzer. I really kind of thought that maybe I would hit pan on it while doing this video. Does one think I will ever learn that it's like panning a bronzer is just not going to happen for me? But I was like, out of all of my bronzers, like I really think it could be this one from Becca. So let's put it in this video, because wouldn't that be funny to catch on camera when it happened? So blush is another category that I had a lot of different options to choose from. The Tarte Mini Blush in Partey. I saw a lot of people mention that. That one was a birthday gift one year at Sephora, so I know a lot of us got that one. But I saw this one come through and I was like, I haven't used this blush in a hot second. This is from ColourPop and Kathleen Lights. It is the I Need Space was the specific blush that was mentioned. So I have this one, and I also have Lunar Has It, and these are really nice blushes. I am a fan of the ColourPop blushes. They're pressed blushes especially, but their Super Shock blushes I do also think are pretty. So I'm going to use the BK Beauty 104 for this. And this one is just a beautiful like neutral pink nude type of shade, I would say, and I think that it's really nice. So when I saw this come through, I thought, oh, that just seems like a good time. Let's use that one. Brow pencils, I didn't have a lot to choose from. I think I only saw maybe like 3 or 4 different brow pencils come in, but I saw this one, and this is a brow pencil that I actually have also used up. Look at me go. Look at me go. Brow pencils are kind of easy to use up, right? Like they're a little bit more on the easy side to use up. But when I saw this one from CoverGirl mentioned, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go get that one because I really like it, but it was really hard to find shades. And even at my grocery store, they had 4 pencils and all of them were brown. There was like honey brown, I got soft brown, dark brown, and cool brown or something like that maybe. And I was like, I know that they have more shades than this, and I feel like at Ulta they have a lot of blonde shades, at least back when I was trying to find, because soft brown, I'm pretty confident I'm remembering correctly that soft brown was my shade. And I'm like, what is happening here? So I think they have like a decent range. It's just like at different retailers, only a certain amount of shade. I don't know, I didn't understand it. I wasn't expecting to find this one, but I was excited that I did. It's a very slim brow pencil, yep, just like how I like. And then you have the spoolie on the other side. I was a fan of this, so I'm excited to have it back. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna do my brows off camera just because I'm like, you know, like this when I do my brows, and it takes me a while, and sometimes I stick out my tongue weird and everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my brows, and then we'll come back for the eyeshadow palette. All right, brows are done. I'm gonna be really happy to have this one back from CoverGirl. So highly recommend that one if you haven't tried it out yet. And then moving over to eyeshadow palettes. Now I had a lot of palettes to choose from. I had a lot of single shadows to choose from, but I saw multiple people mention the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance, and right when I saw it just for the first time, I was like, that's the one I want to use. I have not used my Mod Ren in such a long time, but this comment that I have on the screen says that they panned 8 of the shades out of this 14 pan palette. I had another comment come in saying they panned 4 of the shades out of this palette, and I'm like, I dug my fingernail into this one, so it has a little bit of a scrape on it. This would be a great one to go with because again, it's been a long time since I've used this one, but this was really the palette that not only got me into Anastasia palettes, and I went on to purchase Soft Glam and Sultry and Norvina, which all of those palettes were also mentioned, Soft Glam and Norvina especially, but this was also one of those products that really showed me like what social media and the beauty YouTube community could do, because when people started getting this and hyping it up, it was sold out everywhere. I could not get this for the longest time because it kept selling out, and then when I finally got it, I took this everywhere with me. I am very light-handed if you can't tell. A lot of people have asked me how this is so clean. I have never cleaned this. Never. Not once have I done anything to clean this. And this is the velvet. So a lot of people's are very messy. But even inside of my palette, like, this is the palette I pull out when I tell people I am truly so light-handed, because not only have I worn this myself so many times in videos and in real life, but when I used to help with wedding makeup, I always brought this palette. I've used it on brides, I've used it on bridesmaids. Like, this is the palette that I would take with me. So it's just, to this day, it's still so funny to open this and see truly how light-handed I am. So I thought it would be fun to do a look like a look that I used to do from the past. Definitely Primavera has the deepest dent in it and is like the one shade that kind of looks messy. Vermeer has a little bit too, but Buon Fresco is a shade that I used so often. Even back in the day, I still knew that I loved these kind of mauve tones. So I'm going to start with that one on a BK Beauty 202. And I'm going to start to work that one a little bit higher than my crease. I'm going to take a little bit of Antique Bronze. I'm going to use a 202. It's just a different 202. So this one is clean. And I'm just going to kind of pat this one in the middle and on the outer part of my eye. But then I'm also going to blend it into my crease. I just want to do like a little something of this shade because I would wear this one quite a bit too. I mean, especially even a few years ago, I was doing pretty simple looks, so a lot of times I would just do that light mauve shade and then Primavera and like call it good. So I'm just trying to add in a little bit more here, and then this is just going to kind of give the look a little dimension, make it a little bit deeper. And then going back with my first brush and Buon Fresco, and then I'm just going to blend those together. And then I am going to go in with Primavera on a Sigma E58. And it's interesting because at this point in time, I don't think that would be the shade that I'd go for. I don't often go for golds as much anymore, but this was also back in the day of like when Half Baked from Urban Decay was still really popular. So again, when I would be helping out with wedding makeup, people would either tell me that shade or they would show me looks that were being used with, I think it was from the Urban Decay, like the original Naked palette. And so I would use this shade quite a bit because that's what was like being shown to me. So I'm just gonna pack this on the inner part of my lid to about halfway, and then tapping just a little bit of Antique Bronze. And then I'm not gonna add any more product. I'm just going to blend all that together. All right, I just added some of my Milk Makeup liner, I think is in bonus, to my waterline. And like, this is taking me back. This is taking me back. This is so funny to do. Like, I was really excited to film this video. So thanks to everyone who sent in your suggestions. Okay, for my lower lash line, I'm like trying to remember what I used to do. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of raw sienna here at the end, and then maybe a little bit of red ochre. I'm gonna mix those two together on a BK 207 and see how we do. Yeah, let's try that. All right, and then for my inner corner and brow bone, I'm gonna use some Vermeer on a BK 204. This shade really brought me so much joy. I always thought this one was so pretty. I am really feeling all the old school vibes. This next one also has me really excited and a wee bit afraid. So for mascara, there was quite a few mascaras to choose from, and some that I had in my collection, but I saw so many people mention the L'Oreal Telescopic, and I was like, let's go for it. The L'Oreal Telescopic is still such a popular mascara. I still see people recommending it and using it and just hyping it up so often. And Carly Bible, the very first beauty YouTuber I started watching, she always wore this mascara. So I bought it because of her. It looks beautiful on the lashes. It does amazing things for the lashes, and it also irritates my eyes so badly that I want to cry and it looks like I have an eye infection. But it's been like 4-5 years since I've last used this mascara, so maybe that won't be a thing anymore. I'm a little bit worried because I've always had sensitive eyes, but in the last like 2 years or so, I feel like the sensitivity has really heightened. Every once in a while, there was a mascara formula or an eyeshadow formula that I was like, ow, ooh, ah. And then it just got worse and worse. Now it's like lashes, false lash adhesives, different like single shadows, glitters, liquid eyeshadows. You just never know what's gonna bother my eyes these days. So I'm a wee bit worried, but you know, I was like, let's give it a shot and just see what happens. So I'm excited to try it again. We'll see how it goes. Kind of forgot how like teeny tiny this wand is, but all right, here's one coat. Nothing, I mean, they look better. My lashes look better, but let's see what it's gonna be like with 2 coats. And it's so funny, like my eye kind of immediately had an itch to it. Like the moment I put this to my lashes, like my eye just had like a regular itch and I was like, it's happening already. It's not, get it together. All right, I have 2 coats on each side. I feel like my lashes are looking good. They're looking good, they're looking long. That was the thing about Telescopic, is it made the lashes really long. So far so good. I don't know, I feel like I've seen other people use it and their lashes look even better than mine, but I also just, sometimes I have to remember I just don't have nice natural lashes. So sometimes it's an unfair comparison of what I am trying to do, but we shall see how it goes throughout the day. I'm a little bit worried, but that was the L'Oreal Telescopic. All right, eyes are done. Moving over to highlight. A lot of highlights came through. How y'all panning these highlights? That's just incredible, but okay. But when I saw this one, I said, this is the one that we have to use. It's the Mary Lou. Why would I not use Mary Lou in this video? This was my first ever highlight. It is so many of yours first highlights, because I've mentioned that in videos before. People are like, oh my gosh, the Mary Lou was my first one too. This was like the revolutionary highlight at one point. Everyone was wearing it and buying it, and what's interesting to me of never hitting pan in this one, and really, quite honestly, never even coming close, this was my only highlight for months. This was my only highlighter in my collection. How? How does it look like I maybe just bought it and used it a couple times? I don't know how I managed to do this, but I'm just gonna use, this is a Sigma Tapered Highlighter F35. I'm just gonna go ahead and do a little bit of highlighting, focusing really high up on my cheekbones since I do have some breakouts to deal with and I don't want to be highlighting them. So I'm gonna do a little C around here. She's such a beautiful highlight though. I can never bring myself to get rid of the Mary Lou. All right, lips was another fun category to choose from. A lot of you sent me in lipsticks that you used all the way up, but I saw in there a few times Buxom mentioned, specifically White Russian or Dolly. Those were the ones that were mentioned the most, but I have used up a few minis of my Buxom White Russian. I don't have any of the minis right now. I currently have a full size, but I know that I've used up some of the minis. This was definitely another gloss that was so popular back in the day. I still think that it's a really pretty one, and I actually just got this full size, so I wanted to pull it into here. And then I also saw some different ColourPop lip liners mentioned, and I really do like the ColourPop lip liners. I saw someone mention BFF, which isn't my most used lip liner, so I thought it would be fun to pull it into this video, and I felt like these would go together really well. So first I'm gonna line my lips with ColourPop BFF. All right, once I have my lips lined, then I'm going to use Buxom White Russian, and this is one of their plumping glosses, so it gives you a little bit of that tingly feeling. All right, there is the Buxom gloss on top. Ooh, I think that looks pretty. You know, Buxom is one of those glosses that I don't use for a really long time, and then I'll use White Russian and I'll be like, wait, why did I stop wearing this? I feel like that's kind of the feeling that I'm having right now, because I think that this looks so pretty. So after that, that is it for today's video of full face using products that you have hit pan on or you have used up, including some of my past Holy Grail favorites. Thank you so much for contributing to this video. It was so much fun for me to make and create, so thank you for the outpouring of suggestions. If you have any other ideas for videos like this that you would like me to do, really bringing you in and incorporating, like I loved that Allie did those videos and they were some of my favorites to watch of hers. So I finally was like, wait, why don't I do it too? That will be so fun. So of course, make sure to check out Allie's channel. She's such a gem here on YouTube. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. I hope you also consider subscribing before you go, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.